It's not as foiled as the Technic one, and it's not as pigmented. Hi, it's Nørgaard. So on my Huda Beauty Brown Obsessions palettes dupe video, I used this Technic palette, the Magnif'eyes palette. In the comment section of that video, I had someone request a comparison between the Technic dupe for the Huda Beauty palette and the W7 dupe for the Huda Beauty palette. So that is what we're doing today. So I'm using these two palettes. The W7 one is called Brown Sugar and the Technic one is called Salted Caramel. And both of these are dupes for the Huda Beauty Caramel palette. So I have one on one eye and the other on the other eye. So I will show you how they compare and which dupe is the best. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I really hope this video is helpful. And if you guys have any other comments or requests, just leave them down below in the comment section. And that's all I have to say, I think. So if you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And you can also click the bell to get post notifications. And now without further ado, let's get right into it. So my eyes are watering so freaking bad today. I don't know what it is, especially this eye. So I hope it calms down and I can apply my shadows on the bottom. But let's get into this little look. I'm going to use this Rimmel Eyeshadow Primer on both eyes. So these are the two palettes I'm going to use today. I'm going to use Technic Salted Caramel over here on the left and W7 Sweet Brown Sugar on the right. So on my Technic side, I'm going to use this matte kind of transition color and we are going to pop that in the crease. It is nicely pigmented. Let's see how it blends. So this seems to work pretty well. This would be the comparable color in the W7 palette. And I'm using a clean brush now. They definitely look very similar. I feel like this one is applying a little bit less pigmented, but maybe I just didn't pick up as much on the brush. So now I'm going back in with a little bit more. Yeah, I feel like that definitely makes a difference. I think they look very, very similar and they both applied nicely. So for the lid, I'm going to use the gold color and I'm going to pop that on with my finger. It's very foiled and it's kind of a thick consistency, but you can see it's very pigmented. So the center color would be the comparable color in the W7 palette. This one definitely feels thinner. It's not as thick feeling, but it's also kind of a different texture. It's not as foiled as the Technic one and it's not as pigmented. Personally, I like the Technic one better. This one is nice and shimmery, but it doesn't have quite that foiled effect. Like this one is super reflective. So now I'm going to take some of the darkest color and I'm going to use this kind of like a liner. So this one applies very dark. It is a purple, but it applies like a dark brown, very dark brown. So this is the comparable color in the W7 palette. And I did wipe off my brush. I don't have two of these brushes, so it is the same brush that I'm using. This one applies very similarly. So on the brow bone, I'm going to use this middle color. It's not super light, but I hope it will work for me. Just adding a little bit of brow bone highlight. So this is not my favorite color from Technic. It's very light. It's not very pigmented and it's not very shimmery either. So this is the comparable color from W7. The W7 one is super similar to the Technic. It doesn't have a lot of color payoff and it has almost little specks of glitter in it. Okay you guys, I applied some of the crease color on the lower lash line and I applied Seed Pop highlighter from Becca, which is now Smashbox I believe, on the inner corners because I did not want to use the brow bone highlight on the inner corners. It's not a good color on either palette, I don't think. And my eyes are still watering, so I'm really sorry about that. But let's talk about these palettes. So I like the Crease Color in both palettes, and they were super similar. As far as the lid colors go, I do prefer the Technic one. I think they are super close, but the Technic one is just more foiled, more vibrant, more reflective. The W7 one is good, but it doesn't have quite that foiled effect. Highlight colors for the brow bone, I don't really like either one. The color is kind of off, looks kind of weird, and I don't like the glittery parts. And when it comes to the dark colors, I used along the lash line. I like both of them. They both performed exactly the same. They felt the same. For me, it's super close between these two, but I do prefer the Technic one just a little bit. Now, if you want more colors, then the W7 one is for you, because you get 9 eyeshadows in here, whereas you only get 7 in the Technic. But I think the quality of the Technic one is the best. But if you cannot get your hands on the Technic one, I think you would be very pleased with the W7 one as well. And that is pretty much my review. I really hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know down below what you think, which side was your favorite. And don't forget to thumbs up the video if you did enjoy it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. And you can also click the bell to get post notifications. And that is all. I will see you in my next video. So take care and bye bye.
Lego. It's the original Batman.